Today, the Reporters Committee for Freedom of the Press filed a letter continuing to demand that the court unseal the search warrant affidavits the government used to invade my home and the homes of two former Project Veritas journalists. As the Reporters Committee for Freedom of the Press rightfully points out, the government's own filings in the source's case makes it obvious that the search warrant affidavit should not be concealed. If the Biden DOJ is going to raid journalists' homes and extract guilty pleas from news sources, it should have to show its so-called justification and not proceed in the shadows in its attack on the First Amendment while it issues these press releases disguised as charging documents against the sources. From the Reporters Committee for Freedom of the Press letter to the federal judge, quote, "In connection with their guilty pleas, the Department of Justice filed charging papers, copies of which are attached as Exhibit A for the court's convenience. These charging papers describe in detail what Harris and Kurlander have admitted to be their interaction with Project Veritas. The facts revealed in the charging papers, which concern targets of the government's investigation, persons approached in connection with that investigation, and the extent to which the government has access to electronic messages exchanged between Project Veritas, Harris, and Kurlander, further refute the government's contention that no portion of the search warrant materials at issue can be made public without jeopardizing compelling law enforcement or privacy interests. Accordingly, the Reporters Committee for Freedom of the Press respectfully urges the court to consider the additional public revelations made in the charging papers and related press release when determining whether the government has met its burden to establish that the search warrant materials must remain sealed in their entirety." We applaud the Reporters Committee for Freedom of the Press for making these demands. We hope other journalists, media companies, and freedom of the press organizations will speak out in defense of a free press and the First Amendment for all, whether you like Project Veritas or not. My journalists and I committed no crime, period.